fans start booing John Cena. Now I skipped up a couple seconds because the music. You already know the copyright. The music. The fans start booing John Cena. Well, there's about 100 reasons.
Some of the biggest names in WWE history since the 1980s have all been superhero babyfaces that connected with the masses, like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and John Cena. These are the guys who really gravitated fans into the arenas, pay-per-views, and television shows.
That list was good till you got to Cena. You hear that crowd?
But what Cena did in his career is something that the other men we mentioned didn't get to do. He stayed at the top of the business for nearly a decade. In his WWE...
Yeah, because he didn't give nobody else a chance. Or, Stone Cold had never got hurt. And if Rock never went to go do movies, and then Kurt went to TNA. Yeah, who else? So I'm forgetting. Oh, Lesnar. The schedule was kind of wearing him out. They said he hates wrestling, but he wasn't ready for that schedule. So yeah, it's like they had no choice, but they could have tried other people, but they just they didn't want to.
Championship feud with Kurt Angle in 2005, right when he broke through and dominated WrestleMania, fans, or at least a vocal portion of adult men in the audience, began to turn on him. You see, Cena brought in younger fans and some women, and the high-registered "woo" cheers started to clash with the more
Yeah, like Bruce said, yeah, he has a look and he's good for the children, but that's about it. I want to say he's the new Hogan, but they tried to remake Hogan 2 or 3 times. Remember, I said another video the other day. They tried with Luger, and it just wasn't working. They picked, from what I remember, they said that they had picked Bret over Luger. Plus, Luger was a WCW guy, so they probably looked at it that way too. But it's a lot of different stuff.
Testosterone-driven male cheers. This set of a new audience started to clash with a traditional established one that WWE had coming out of the Attitude Era, and it began to polarize the fans, with John Cena being the divisive figure in between them. We all know about the whole "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants that prevailed for a good part of the decade. He might be accepted and loved as an all-time great in the hearts of fans for the most part now, but back then, it was why fans began to boo John Cena. Woo! And it should be said that Cena's rise...
I forgot about that. I haven't seen that in a while. The ECW, where they kept throwing the shirt down. We don't want your damn shirt. We don't want your damn shirt. I forgot all about that. They threw that shirt back like 4 times. Like we don't want it. Yeah. Because that was I know it wasn't like the original ECW, but it was original ECW fans, and the ECW fans are rough. They are rough.
To the top was completely organic. He was not someone simply just taken out of a gym and said, "You're going to be the next top guy." No, he worked from the independents all the way up to the top spot in the WWE. But he also faced challenges. In 2002, early in his WWE career, he was nearly let go for, quote, failing to live up to expectations. The WWE, they used to make a series of cuts around late November and around mid-May. I was told that I was going to be getting my release at Christmas cuts because it just wasn't working. And there was no argument there. It wasn't. They gave it to me on a silver platter. John Cena, ruthless aggression. And I failed. I messed up. What?
And I said, he wrestled better as a rookie than the current Cena. And a lot of people didn't think. I didn't think he'd be sitting there or being there 10 or 12 years. You know, because I said Triple H because he was working more on the business started to work more on the business part, and Cena pretty much took over. That was it. You know, you know, and then and it's like they forget about Orton. You know, because it came down to Orton and Cena. I liked it Orton a lot more. And then I remember they wore that out, the Orton and Cena feud. They wore that out. They wore it out like a good pair of Timbs. They wore it out.
Saved Cena's career.
Like
Cena said that he was on a tour bus and did a freestyle rap with Rikishi and Rey Mysterio. WWE executive Stephanie McMahon, of all people, enjoyed it so much that she told him to incorporate it into his on-screen act. And becoming the Doctor of Thugonomics was what followed. That's right, a rapping, brash, hard with his words WWE superstar. Not many know that Stephanie essentially saved his career.
I heard something about that.
And WWE's top boss, Vince McMahon, will have certainly been glad that she did. The Doctor of Thugonomics gave him new life, rising to the top in the most organic way possible until it was time in early 2005 to put the WWE Championship on him at WrestleMania 21. John Cena wasn't the only up-and-coming superstar to capture World Championship gold that year at WrestleMania 21. The Animal Batista turned on Triple H and captured the World title over on Raw, while Cena held down the WWE title on SmackDown. WWE officials felt that Cena, who was younger and less injury-prone than Batista, was a better choice as the face of the company. According to Arn Anderson, a longtime wrestling legend and producer for WWE at the time, the fact that there was no negotiation issues with Cena was a big decision behind him being chosen to be the guy. He wasn't going anywhere. There were no negotiation issues with him. He was going to be there as long as they wanted him to be there, and he ended up being the fate.
Well, I agree with some of that. I agree with I couldn't see him in TNA or something like that. That wouldn't have happened. How about that? Yeah, I remember my boy was telling me about, I don't know, where he saw this interview at or heard this at, he said about Lesnar. They tried to offer him I guess it's when after he left, he tried to offer him a contract for TNA, and he laughed at it. He might have. He's like, come on now, this is Lesnar.
Piece of the company, being a babyface and staying a babyface. Randy Orton's character took some trips back and forth, and Dave Bautista would go on and do some other things in Hollywood. So they decided on him. He was then moved over to Monday Night Raw, while Batista became the face of SmackDown.
Yeah, they switched him around. I remember that.
To be the right decision. But you wouldn't have known that, because then there were those rumblings of fans' discontent with this whole Cena at the top thing. During his lead up to SummerSlam that year, a feud with Chris Jericho on Raw, a Chris Jericho that was heading out the door of WWE, things started to feel different. Once he began a rivalry with Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, Cena was not so well respected by the hardcore fans. Despite being a heel, the tides began to turn somehow with those very vocal fans for a very mean and not good guy at the time, Kurt Angle. Suddenly, there was a vocal part of the fan base booing Cena when it became clear that he was, as they saw, the corporate handpicked champion. The issue that many criticized him for was a lack of progress in his character, or even his wrestling abilities, which in retrospect seems like a really Swiss cheese.
Yeah, at this point, like I said on Nate's show, people were just watching it out of the habit. They were like half watching, half not watching, because it just got ridiculous. Like you wonder why people get angry. I remember one time I knew the man probably was going to have the belt long, but I think this was Mysterio's second or third championship, and then Cena just had to get his. I don't know if it was. It wasn't Money in the Bank. I think it was something else. He just had to get his match, and of course, Cena's the champ again with his throw Mysterio aside. Know about that? I don't know about that. And that stuff like that pissed you off. I knew Mysterio wouldn't want to have the belt forever, but come on now.
Argument. There's a lot of holes there.
I knew he wasn't going to have it long.
Years passed, it became clear that they
let Mysterio hold it for like a month or something. The man couldn't even hold it for a month.
PG era where
had it for like 30 minutes.
Family-friendly approach, being more inclusive to all demographics of the family. Are you ready for this Sunday night with WWE Champ John? Cena became quickly overexposed. The "lol Cena wins" meme began to go around the internet wrestling circles, which mainly was those hardcore male 18 to 34-year-old fans, and they took exception to a lot of different things that hit with the other portions of the WWE audience. The divisions grew, as it seemed like even if there was a fan favorite going up against the fan sort of favorite in John Cena, they still had a tough time. Example, with John Cena taking on Triple H at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago. Half the fans were for Cena, and the other half were just against him and by default for Triple H.
Yeah, they like the guy just said a few seconds ago, they wore him out. So like going back to Hogan, was the champ a lot and the top dog for a long time too, but he wasn't wrestling on what's that called, Wrestling Challenge and all that. It'd be rare. He'd be on a Saturday night's main event, but that was about it because there was no Monday Night Raw back then. And primetime wrestling, I don't believe he wrestled on there unless I didn't see it. Yeah, they didn't wear him out like that. That was the difference.
It became a little bit easier, though, when the tones were completely different. The white hat babyface hero was Cena, going up against the dark hat sleaziness of Edge, who captured the Money in the Bank briefcase and was able to get the title off of John Cena. Yes, he had a bad guy who was equal to him as a held up to a pedestal good guy. You may remember the words being shoved down our throats a lot for Roman Reigns a few years back before the whole tribal chief thing. But this was quite clearly happening.
Oh, you can thank Cena for that. Oh boy.
There seemed to be the sentiment that he didn't need to win every single feud every single time, but there was a pattern that emerged during this over years as a top star, making a large portion of the fans sick and tired of him. But on the flip side, WWE was beginning to embrace the polarizing personality that Cena had. It was undeniable. Some people loved him, they were kids, they were younger, and the older fans had their favorites. But still, WWE was packing them in. So what's the problem? Embrace it and create something from it. Once WWE pulled the trigger on ending the Ruthless Aggression era and diving deep into what would be the PG times, there was no better superstar.
That was the worst. The Ruthless Aggression era wasn't too bad. When it got to what did he just call it, the PG era? That's when it got real sickening. Like, okay, let me cut this off. And it was just like and I believe the fan. Matter of fact, I believe they chanted that one time. Same old shit. Same old shit. Yeah, it's like same old shit. Yeah, they were getting frustrated, and you can't blame them. They would say, okay, if you have a peanut butter sandwich for lunch every day, your stomach's eventually gonna turn. Like, that's enough of this shit. It's gonna turn.
Sales were booming, and an increasing number of Make-A-Wish kids were endeared to Cena forever. This put WWE in a conundrum because his global population...
I'm cutting that off a lot. Again, that was good for the children, but the children... Cena wasn't the only one that did that stuff. Mysterio did it. Sheamus did it. Orton probably did it. So he wasn't the only one to go visit or talk to the children. There was a lot of... Oh, boy. Bruce talked about there was a lot of kids that want to go visit the children. Not just him.
Popularity and appeal forced WWE's top brass to pull the plug on plans to turn him into a villain with his feud with The Rock in 2012. Though Cena did dip into some...
If he jumped on The Rock, the fans would have ate him alive.
He called out The Rock for writing these lines on his wrist.
Just like I don't need my notes for my promo on my wrist.
Yeah, I remember that. And fans got to pick their favorites in that one. It wasn't just one guy's the good guy, one guy's the bad guy. And WWE saw this, especially with the growing wealth that was...
No, this wasn't about the good and the bad guy. This was about the... Because, Rock's from the Attitude Era. This is about the Attitude Era versus the current era, or the PG era, or the Cena era, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was. What about the good guy and the bad guy? It wasn't about that.
Social media at the time. Still, there are superstars that didn't benefit or come out on top of a John Cena feud, like Wade Barrett, Umaga, Damian Sandow, and Bray Wyatt. It's hard not to be mad for them when you love those guys and you're just so tired of John Cena and his baseball caps and camo shorts. Yeah. Through the years, though, John Cena made a generation of fans get behind him. And once he kind of took a step back a bit in 2015, there was a more favorable opinion of him. People kind of grew to understand that John Cena was the locker room captain. John Cena was the guy that got WWE through the good chunk of the past few years, and John Cena was someone that was bringing in new wrestling fans, even if they were chanting John Cena sucks in 2023, because he simply doesn't suck. There are a few reasons why the same people who booed Cena eventually warmed up to him.
Talking about the wrestler, not the person.
When he left to become a relatively feature performer in 2015, he was coming off one of the most memorable runs of his career, one that was built on bringing people up to his level with the United States Open Challenge, one where he was offering a big title match to any type of superstar within the growing depth roster of WWE at the time. There's also a time when fans were vehemently booing Roman Reigns and maybe sliding back into, hey, I grew into John Cena, but I don't like this Roman Reigns guy. It was almost like the whole cycle was repeating itself with the difference between generations in fandom. Roman Reigns couldn't be the new John Cena. He just needed to be Roman Reigns. And WWE wanted to kind of copy the same blueprint, or at least that's the way it came off to some people. When making comparisons between Reigns and Cena, it was evident that not only did John Cena have that organic, natural rise to the top, even though some people had an issue with it, he was actually a good wrestler. He had great matches and an undeniable impact on the community that was well positive beyond just being a wrestling hero, but being a legitimate hero to people who needed to find wrestling to get through tough times.
Yeah, I said it 5 times already. He was good for the children. I already said that.
Champion. Yeah, that got played out. The arguments against Cena eroded as his character, his wealth of knowledge, and his impact on positively progressing WWE shined through. He was a good person and a great wrestler. He has a record-breaking 650 Make-A-Wish appearances. Just imagine being in his position.
You could have a 1,000 appearances. I said it already. Other people did that stuff too. But I guess Mysterio and Sheamus and who else I said, Orton or whoever, I guess they ain't important. Yep. This guy.
Going out of your way to meet children in need with terminal illnesses. Roman Reigns in the mid-2010s was in an unfortunate position at the wrong time. With the benefit of hindsight, we know that it was never really his fault for being the shoved down the throats of fans type guy. Thankfully, they took a different route with him, and we got the Tribal Chief run, becoming the Darth Vader of WWE, a villain that some can boo, and a villain that some can cheer. WWE understands people can pick their favorites, but you can still tell the story. This always begs the question, would it have worked out if John Cena did turn heel? If he did become a bad guy? The true answer is we simply don't know, and do we need to know? Hulk Hogan's heel run in the mid-90s with WCW worked so well that some people...
See, they all reinvented the character, all but him. Hogan, Sting was dark. Even the Taker, I know some people didn't like it, the motorcycle and everything. See, it's that the same old character. Now, talking about him turning, if let's say, like I said before, if he just jumped on, which Oh, they would have tore him a new one. If he had jumped on, like I said, if he had turned on The Rock or if he had turned on Mysterio, they would have tore him a new one.
It launched the biggest successful period of the biggest non-WWE company at the time.
If he started beating up Mysterio for no reason, the fans would have gave him hell.
Pandemic,
Woo!
Tribal Chief was another evolution that, in retrospect, was certainly the right call. Maybe Cena making the change to a bad guy could have launched a completely different era of WWE, but we'll never know. And the people that wanted that heel turn were the ones who were chanting "Cena sucks" with me in 2006 at WrestleMania 22. Those same fans tuned in or tuned.
It would be weird, but it'd be interesting. I can't, like I said before, another video. I can't see him Cena talking about telling the fans kiss my ass and go to hell. I can't see that. It would look weird, but it would be something like certain stuff wouldn't look right. Okay, I know about telling the fans kiss my ass. I couldn't see him doing that. It would be funny, but it'd be weird.
Out if bad guy Cena was on their TV, we just don't know. Here's what we do know for certain in retrospect now, with John Cena as the top guy for a majority of the last 20 years in WWE. From a financial and business perspective, it's hard not to understand why Vince McMahon and WWE's top-level executives felt that turning John Cena was a bad idea. In his mind, John Cena is one of the greatest baby faces that WWE has ever marketed to a mass audience. And that audience loved themselves some John Cena. Were you on Team
What
Let's
audience
Go
you been
Cena,
looking at?
or were you Team Cena Sucks back in the day? Let us know in the comments below and watch more great videos like this from Sportskeeda Wrestling.
Cena. Yeah, man. Like I said, most of the stuff was didn't agree on, but some stuff, like I said, he was good for the children. Yeah, he visited the children and did this and that. But like I said, other people visited the children besides him, and they just like, okay, nobody else visited. They didn't go see nothing. It was all seen that. Nobody else did nothing. How about that? What the hell? Even going back in the day. Oh, they talking about Macho Man. He went out there to see the children. Not for there's a company told him to. He said he did it on his own. So it's just this guy here, boy. He was the only one. Yeah. Like I said, man, he's a garbage wrestler. And some of the wrestlers I like the dude was telling me the other day, he didn't like Brett. I thought that was weird, but he didn't like Brett. He didn't like Brett. But, but this guy here, oh boy. Like I said about the Mysterio thing and other stuff, it's like if they wanted to try hard enough, somebody else could have been that belt. Even when what's named was on the podcast, he said you shouldn't depend on one wrestler. Have 2 or 3 stars. That's the difference between back with Stone Cold and them. I like Stone Cold, but you had The Rock, Taker, Mankind. Even that dirty dog Triple H. It wasn't just Stone Cold. You had like a lot of different wrestlers and not just one person. Damn.